What's up, everyone? It's your boy Infrar-Ed. Welcome to the Scout Report. Today I'm bringing you an anime review of Orange, episode 13, aka Letter 13, aka the finale, as we have hit the final episode of this series, and it was a supersized Orange. This episode clocked in at about 37 minutes, so this might be a long video, so let's just dive in and then we'll get to my final thoughts about it at the end. So first and foremost, it's February 14th, Valentine's Day, the day before Kakeru dies, and I didn't even want to start to think about the things that Naho would have did to fuck this up, because that's all she's been doing for a majority of the season is tearing things up as far as getting things right with Kakeru and saving him. So the plot for today was the box of chocolates that has been so important since the beginning of the series, because that was one of the last things that Kakeru wondered about. She started making these chocolates and she wanted to make them and not let anybody know who they were for, but come on now, the rest of the gang knows who it's for because of the letters, so I don't even know why she tried to do that. So that starts us off into the episode as we kick into that opening, and I had to jam out to it one more time as it just feels good, it's refreshing. And kind of on an unrelated note, I'm going to actually start reading a silent voice. Actually, I'm already reading a silent voice, as Orange is my first slice of life, so I want more of the genre. So on to the episode. That was a little bit unrelated. So the task for Naho right now is to give Kakeru the chocolate. Tell him how you feel. That's her one job. She still managed to try to screw that up, as it took her 4 times to actually put her panties on and go after Kakeru and say how she feels, tells him exactly what she wants. And when she finally did decide to speak to him after letting him pass by 3 times already, on the 4th time, she actually runs into fucking Ueda. And I was like, oh my god, not this chick again. But you know what? I gotta commend Naho, as she said, you know what? Get out of my way. I'm trying to get to Kakeru. I don't need you right now. As Ueda kind of took a little bit of satisfaction in seeing that she had a box of chocolates that was on the ground and crushed, and she was like, well, I guess you can't give it to whoever you're going to now. But Naho womaned up and said, you know what? I need to tell him how I feel, even if this box of chocolates isn't part of the factor, as she goes ahead and starts to run towards Kakeru again. Letter tells her to change the future. That's what it's always told her, as she does track down Kakeru, and they start to have their heart-to-heart talk. And Naho steps up and says, I'm sorry, Kakeru. And it was such a wonderful scene, because when those words came out of her mouth, you saw the present Naho as well as the future Naho looking off into the window saying, I'm sorry, as if it was the future Naho speaking through her saying it. So you get a little bit of gratification on both sides. She wanted to tell him that she wasn't hurt by the things he did, and that's what her reply was to the text message that Kakeru never got to see in the other timeline because he died, is that she wasn't hurt by what he did, and it was all her fault. She admitted to that by saying, I shouldn't have been selfish and I should have just let you go tend to your grandmother. It's all your fault. I mean, it's all my fault, and I'm sorry. And then we get some characterization from Kakeru as well by telling her that it's not your fault, it's my fault. I'm pushing you away because I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to run away from you. I don't want to put you in a position where you're depending on me and I'm just going to let you down. He actually tells her that he loves her, and I was like, oh my god, it was just like victory finally, as these two finally confess their love for each other. Even though Naho didn't say it, I believe Naho said it before, I forgot what happened, but now Kakeru has put itself out there and said, I love you. These two embrace. They finally decide to be the happy couple that we've been striving for its entire series, and it was a nice cute little moment, because the rest of the gang were up looking, and it calls back to the beginning of the series. You know what happened with Ueda? And Azu asked, you know, what happened, and Kakeru had the box of chocolates and he put it up over his head like the heart. That was great. I love that. I absolutely love that. It had me cheesing like a little kid on Christmas when I saw that, because we finally got to that mountain point that we've been trying to get to for this series in this finale. Very gratifying. By far, probably my favorite part of the episode is to see him hold up that heart. basically saying, you know, this is my girl, now I love her, we're going to be together. And even for Naho, by saying that I'm going to stick by you no matter what, because Kakeru got into some deep stuff by saying, I hate myself, it's my fault, I'm not happy, I'm not going to be in this place because it's not making me happy. And Naho basically saying that I'm going to be here for you no matter what, I'm going to love you no matter what, I'm going to make you happy as long as you want to be happy too. Let's just be happy together. So again, I gotta give a applaud and clap for that, as it was just a beautiful moment. I absolutely loved it. And it was also really good to see Suwa as well, as sitting there with that smile on his face as he says, I'm okay with this. We already knew where Suwa stood. He wanted to see these two together no matter what, at the result of his own happiness. He's like, I'm okay with this. I know that the future that we live in, with me being married to Naho and with our child, that can't be changed. But a future with them two together, that's what makes me happy the most. And again, you can't deny Suwa's best boy of the season. He just put his feelings aside to make everybody else happy, and everything that he went through and sacrificed for these two definitely needs to be commended. So with that being said, it is now February 15th. This is the fateful day, the day that Kakeru died. And I'm glad that the team picked up on this, because this is something I was worried about too, is some Final Destination shit happening, because Kakeru died at 8 p.m. That's when he ran into a truck or got hit with the truck, however you want to classify it. And it's still in everyone's mind that that could still very well happen. So he decided to, you know, get everybody together, and they're going to look out for him, because Naho was going to walk home with him that day. She asked, can she go home with him? He said, no, I gotta go see my grandmother. So this time she actually did listen. She backed up and said, okay, I'm gonna let you have your time. I'll just see you tomorrow. And everybody else is like, we don't want to get in this wave of something like that again, because all the regret that we have stems from that day of the opening ceremony when he couldn't go be with his mother. So we don't want that type of thing to happen again. However, we do still want to make sure he makes it through this day. So we're just going to go to where the area was where he dies, and we're just gonna watch and see what happens. And Hakita, again, second best boy, definitely one of my most favorite characters of the anime season though. He was like, well, why don't we just break his bike so that way he can't even do it. So that was funny. And they're gonna rally together, and they're gonna get to the place just to make sure nothing happens with Kakeru. But this is where things get very interesting, because Kakeru was thinking about his mom, and he wondered where her pictures were, and his grandmother said she put them away. So that caused him to go to that same area from the previous timeline where he finds his mother's cell phone. He finds it once again in this timeline. He looks at the letter, and he gets sad all over again. He also touched base briefly with the Future Squad, as everyone has come together and come to the same realization that Suwa had, that it is a slim chance that this would even work. But if it's just a small possibility that we can make a happier life for Kakeru in another timeline, then we're all for it. So they went ahead and embarked on sending the letters back. But again, we're still in danger, because now Kakeru is sad all over again. They're sitting at the place where he's supposed to be at 8 o'clock. It's about 8:20. He hasn't showed up. So everybody's worried. They rush to his grandmother's house, and his grandma says that he left. He went out on his own, and we can see Kakeru in a saddened state. It was just so heartbreaking to see him so sad and just walking in a road while cars are swerving by, as you have to wonder if fate can even be changed, or if he will still die no matter what happens, because maybe it was just meant to be. And that truck comes and it cuts off, and I was literally just like, oh my God, my heart literally stopped for about a minute. I had to pause because I was just so worried that Kakeru may have still died. So everybody rushes over to him, only to find that he was alive. Yes, he was alive. He was still alive. He was in tears, but he was still alive, as in the last minute he decided to jump out of the way of the truck, because he admits that I wanted to die. I wanted to kill myself, but I stopped and I thought about how sad that would make my grandmother, how sad that would make Naho, how sad that would make you guys. And I've absolutely loved being friends with you guys and loved being around you guys. And I don't want those times to leave. And I don't think that's what my mother would have wanted. So he decided to put life first instead of his sadness. And now he has a ride or die chick, and he has a great bunch of friends who are going to be there and support him forever. And I am glad that it ended the way it did. And I can say that I'm thoroughly satisfied with this series. So with that being said, excellent episode, excellent double-sized episode. Props to Kakeru for choosing life props to Naho for womaning up, finally saying her feelings, and of course props to Suwa, Hakita, Azu, Taco, everybody for putting all they had in to make sure that Kakeru still lives, because I was worried that he wasn't still going to make it through the night, and that would have just been so heartbreaking that I don't know what I would have done. So it was good to see that. Now let's get on to the final thoughts of what I thought of Orange, the series. So overall, what would I give Orange as a series? I'll give it an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. It's a very solid series. It's definitely worth your time. And here's the reason why. Naho screwed up entirely too much in this series. It felt like they were intentionally making her screw up some things just so they can get more life out of it or edge it along, and it was just jarring to see her make the mistakes that she made, especially with a leather there saying not to do these certain things. And another thing that was kind of negative with me was the whole black hole thing and sending the letters back. That was a bit of an ass pull. I mean, this has been a pretty realistic series, and that's another one of the high points, is the realism that this series had with dealing with Kakeru and his depression, and dealing with it in a realistic sense. There's people out here that really like this, and I'm glad that this anime didn't shy away from this type of subject. So the black hole sending a letter back thing was a little bit of a negative, and Naho's actions until the very final episode was a little bit jarring, but overall it is the bright points of it. By this being my first slice of life, it got me more interested in wanting to see more things like this. Again, like I mentioned at the top of the video, I am going to start reading or continue reading A Silent Voice. Cannot wait to finish diving into that, as I thoroughly enjoy it so far. And also Suwa himself, the best boy, the man, the ultimate friend, that dude, he single-handedly would have saved this series if everything else went to hell, because he put himself aside for everybody, to make everybody happy, to make this future for Naho and Kakeru at the expense of his own, even knowing that it could have erased the future that he would have had, regardless of how you feel. So him alone, clap it up for Suwa. Suwa, fuck the world, best boy, absolutely loved him. And one thing that this series thrived on is friendship definitely was magic, as this was the best group of friends that I've ever seen in an anime setting, and I absolutely love it. It brought back memories of me and my friends back in those days in the college or whatnot. It just makes you want to get up and have fun. It makes you want to call that friend that you were friends with long ago, if you're still with, or maybe even distant, and maybe patch things up. So overall, I feel Orange did a solid job. I would give it an 8 out of 10. Definitely recommend it. And that's the end of our journey. It's been very fun with Orange, so I am very glad that I picked up this series. I'm glad I reviewed it, because it's a little bit something out of the norm that I usually would even watch, let alone do a review for. So it helped me broaden my horizons as well. Thank you to everybody who have watched these reviews for Orange. It was good seeing you, and I hope you stay along. And another note is, if you want more Orange, there is good news. At the end of this extra large episode, it was announced that it is actually going to be a movie for Orange. It's called Orange Future, and it deals with Suwa's point of view through this entire ordeal, and it's also written by the mangaka, and it's gonna have some extra scenes as well, because everything that he was doing was to make sure that Naho and Kakeru gets together. So we'll get to see what was going on when he wasn't on camera, and we just might get to see a glimpse of these guys in the future. So I'm definitely holding on to hope for that, just to see how things ended up with Kakeru and the rest, especially with them all being together at the end and doing the time capsule once again, but this time with a happy Kakeru, happy Naho together. And the biggest part of the episode, that the future Naho, all that she wished for is to one day go to Mount, what is it called? Mount Koho. I believe it was Mount Koho, and watch the orange sunset with Kakeru one day. And she finally will get that wish in some reality, and that calls back to the title as well. It's a lot of parallels to Orange, you know, with Orange being the juice box that she had that was bitter and sweet as far as the situation. Orange for her hair, orange for the baby's hair. But I think the biggest meaning, what we were supposed to take out of that, or at least I think so, is Naho wanting to see that orange color sunset with Kakeru one day, and she'll finally get her chance somewhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it here, guys. If you like this video, go ahead and drop it a like, and if you want to hear more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as there is not a shortage of content for you guys to indulge on this channel, especially coming up for the summer. I'm sorry, for the fall. Confirmation that we got One Punch Man season 2. Cannot wait for that. Also, as I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me. And I really appreciate that, so thanks for stopping by. On that note, it's your boy Infrar-Ed signing out. See you soon.